We are here to partner with you in these next 4 years with your child and their education, and we look forward to a wonderful 4 years with you. And I'm going to turn it over to our great counseling staff and Jody Arcelowitz.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Just to kind of round out the admin team, they are all in conferences and they'll probably be around during your walkout time. But Mr. DeStefano, Mrs. Morse, and Mr. Udell. Go back a little bit. The 4 of us make up the counseling team at Forest Hill Central, and we divide students by alphabet. And so I'm going to just kind of point out Miss Young here has the beginning of the alphabet, followed by Mr. Perkins, and then Miss Van Toff. And I take up the end of the alphabet. I have the fewest letters because I work 3 days a week. So we have the equivalent of 3.6 counselors in the building. We are so excited to have your students here. 8th graders, you're going to be back up here tomorrow morning. So don't take your coats off when you get to school, okay, because you're going to be walking up, and we're going to spend some more time with you talking about classes. But we just kind of want to give an overview a little bit for you families to understand what the role of the high school counselor is. The goal is the diploma, right? And then to help develop and implement a plan for that plan after high school. What path are you going to take after high school? What might that look like for you? And so in the midst of all of that, there are things that get in the way, and we help navigate some of those things. And so when we talk about the role of a counselor, we do classroom lessons, individualized planning. There's work that goes in each year on different things, and we'll educate you a lot more on that in the fall when you come in. And then we also do responsive services for all that stuff that kind of gets in the way. This is exciting. How many in the room, this is your first time through the high school process? Nice, okay. How many of you have been through this before? Okay, a good mix. And those of you that have been through it before, it's still a very different experience with the next child because they don't turn out the same, do they? So as we are navigating this, right, it's an exciting time. This was just one of my quotes I like, life's about change. It's painful and beautiful, and usually it's a little bit of both. So we're excited for the opportunity that you have as you start high school, but know that there's going to be some things to kind of navigate along the way. When we talk about freshman year and academic planning, which will be the focus of tonight, so tonight's goal is to kind of get you to have a sense of what freshman year courses might look like, what are some of the extracurricular things that you can do. That's what we're focusing in on tonight. But what we want students and families to keep in mind over the next week as you're really talking through some of these decisions is that the goal is to choose classes that fit you well. Now, right? And that will set you up for options later. We know that traditionally, from Forest Hill Central, many of our students plan to go on to some level of education after high school, whether it's a 2-year school, 4-year university. That's shifting a little bit. We've got a lot more options for students and looking at things. But right now, if we were to poll most of the 8th graders, most of the 9th graders into the 10th grade, and we ask what are they thinking about after high school, if they don't have a job thought yet, most of them are thinking, well, yeah, I'm going to maybe go to college. So when we talk about that, we do prep this a little bit in terms of let's make sure we have a really strong foundation academically, obviously, but we also have, hello, welcome. We also have social and emotional adjustments as we are entering high school and these teenage years, so we want to keep that in mind. We want students to have as many options and choices that are good for them, good fits for them later on. So choosing the freshman level courses is really important. We want you to trust those 8th grade teachers, those that know you and know your abilities. Keep in mind that if college is what your path may be, when you are first applying to college, it goes really quickly, a few years from now, this freshman year does matter, right? So we want a strong foundation. We want things that will open up options, but you want to make sure that it's in the realm of what is manageable, okay? And that's an individual decision that you make within your family, but that's what we're helped to kind of consult with. I think we're going to turn it over to some academic stuff now.
Good evening. It's great to see you all here, and we're really happy there are students here tonight as well, because this information is just as relevant to you as it is to your families. What we will be doing with students within the next week is launching into that course request process, okay? So we want to make sure that families and students have a pretty good understanding of how the scheduling process functions at the high school level. What we will be doing with students tomorrow is delivering information about the types of courses that we offer. Then students will be given several days to reflect on those options, talk with families, talk with teachers back at Central Middle School, and then we will start collecting course requests when we visit the middle school as counselors next week. Those course requests that we take then go into a program within PowerSchool that develops our master schedule. So our master schedule for all of our high school students is developed based upon what students communicate they want to take, okay? And so that's why it's important for students to really be intentional with what they're selecting, because we will then build their student schedule based upon what they tell us they'd like. We will be making some minor adjustments if students have a conflict. Sometimes when students are issued their schedule, they may have to choose between one course or another course because there's a conflict. That doesn't happen much for ninth graders, I'll let you know, but some of our upperclassmen experience that. So there are times when we have to make some subtle adjustments to the schedule, but we really expect that students are giving this a lot of thought when they're requesting courses, so that when they are given those schedules later this spring, they are set and ready to go in August when we see them next. Let's talk through a little bit what the Forest Hills Public Schools graduation requirements look like at the high school level. They can expect for 4 years they will be taking math and English. And just so you know, we will put this on our website if in case you don't want to take flashes through every single slide. So those will be those are the two subject matters that students can expect to encounter each year. Okay, science is a 3-year type commitment for our students, as is social studies. Students can expect to take a year of physical education with health. We'll kind of talk through what those options look like in just a moment. 1 year of visual, performing, and applied arts. 1 credit of world language. And then we can kind of talk through what that can look like. A student can choose to do 2 years of a visual, performing, and applied art and 1 year of a world language, or vice versa. They can take 2 years of a world language, 1 year of a visual, performing, and applied art. And that option is available basically based upon what a student's overall objective is in terms of what their career and post-secondary planning looks like. And then the remaining credits are elective credits that students are required to take out of that 22.5. So let's talk through kind of those options of the world language versus the visual, performing, and applied arts. Some students are just geared and are really engaged in that learning of a language. It comes naturally to them. They really enjoy it. They're really plugged in, and 2 years or more is a great option for them, okay? And then that fits that state requirement. They would then take 1 year of a visual, performing, and applied art, and they would satisfy those requirements. We have other students where learning a world language is just it's a real struggle. It's challenging, and it would be no matter what their setting. And so we want to make sure that those students have some sort of an accommodation available to them so that they can do what fits them best and what their future plans are. So a student could elect to take 1 year of a world language and then 2 years of visual, performing, and applied arts that may suit them better. So we revisit this every year, so I don't know if I have any non-to-be ninth graders in this presentation who got dragged along with their family, but we talk about this a lot. The 4 Ps, this is kind of a thing that we really try to reinforce to our students. When you are choosing classes, when you're selecting classes each year, it's really important that you are considering these things and asking yourself, why am I selecting the class that I'm selecting? It's really easy when we get all of our students kind of in a cluster and they start looking at each other, what are you taking, what are you taking? And that can start to become the influence, but we really want the students to make this very personal and individualized. We want a student to be prepared for what they're signing up for. Okay, so if a student is signing up for a class that they are unfamiliar with, they don't have any kind of insight into what to expect, then that may not be the best option for them. We want them to have taken all the appropriate prerequisite courses. Again, at the 9th grade level, that's pretty much a given. You're ready for what we offer you. We want you to be passionate about the courses that you're signing up for, okay? We sometimes hear about students who want to accelerate or kind of double up on some classes and move ahead. Well, we want to make sure if they're doing that, that there's a passion and that motivation and that objective to do that. We're also wanting to make sure that students are willing to be active participants in what they commit to. Okay, are they going to fully participate in the classes that they're signing up for? We don't want them to get lost in kind of the busyness of some of the classes and the curriculum. And then programming. I think this is the biggest one for all of our levels in the high school. We have students who do fantastic things outside of the school day. They do fantastic things here in the building. They do fantastic things outside of the building. And it's really important that they are asking themselves, what can I realistically manage and still take care of myself? Okay? That is something that I'm sure as middle school families, you have already started to have those conversations. It's really important to have those conversations at the high school level as well. Kind of that don't bite off more than you can chew sort of mantra. We want to make sure that you can really commit to all the great things that you have going on so that you can manage that stress. Okay, so a tentative freshman year schedule. This is pretty standard. And a lot of this is determined based upon what the Michigan Department of Ed kind of lets us know is what's most appropriate for students. But you can see, in general, students will be placed in an English 9 course, a math, which will be recommended based upon the math a student is currently in 8th grade and what their 8th grade teacher thinks is the best placement for them. Biology, civics and economics, one for one semester, one the other semester. The order does not matter. And then 2 of the 3 below. So some students are really ready to take that world language as a 9th grader. They're ready to jump into that curriculum. Other students prefer to offset that and wait a year. It really is what is the best fit for a particular student. We have students who are interested in some of our music. Do we have band, choir, or orchestra students in here? Okay, that's a large program that exists at our high school that students like to continue. And then it's very reasonable during the 9th grade year to kind of check that box of getting the PE and health credits out of the way and have a nice break in the day from some of those heavier academics. This is sort of what a 4-year plan looks like. We work on 4-year planning with the 9th graders during the school day. We will visit them sometime in the fall. We traditionally do that in the month of October through our biology teacher friends. They let us come into their classrooms and kind of work with our 9th graders on looking at a big picture of what do you plan to do for the next 4 years. Nothing is set in stone. There's no signing on a dotted line, but it helps them visualize what might my next 4 years look like so that I can kind of plan ahead and ask the questions that I may need to ask. We will also make sure that they're familiar with Naviance, which is a career and college prep program that we use with students. Kind of move through the subject areas. 0-hour options, those are for our early risers. Who are you? Students who like getting up early in the morning. I know there are some of you. You exist. We need you too. 0-hour options, really for the 9th grade level. Choir, okay? Students who are already engaged in a percussion ensemble and want to continue that. And then strength and conditioning is offered 2nd semester during the 0-hour. But this is kind of what's available to our students for that early morning. Okay, English language arts. You can see that there are really 2 different pathways. Once a student is on a certain pathway in English, they are not stuck there. So if we have a student who comes in as an English 9 student and chooses that they would later like to pursue an advanced placement class, they did not need to take honors in order to pursue that option. But again, when we talk about an honors English course, we go back to those 4 Ps and ask, is there passion in that area? Do you like to read? Do you like to think critically, really synthesize your writing? Those are really important questions to be asking. Are you prepared for it? Have you done well in your current English language arts class? Math, and again, this is another 4 full credit class. You can see the middle pathway is what the majority of incoming 9th graders will be placed. That's the majority of our placement. Algebra 1, We have some students where algebra/geometry 1 is a better approach for them. It's a blended curriculum of those two subject matters, and that's for our learners who need more time and they just need a little bit more support in math curriculum. And then we may have some students who are accelerated in their math, and they began that at the middle school level. Science, we have 3 full credits. 9th grade, students will pursue biology. In the 10th grade, we have a new set of science standards that Forest Hills has adopted based upon State of Michigan and other contributing university recommendations, where students will explore, 10th grade, they will explore a blended approach of chemistry and physics. Then they will pursue environmental science during the 11th grade, and all of our wonderful science elective options remain during the 12th grade year. As a reminder, we have all of our teachers are here this evening to kind of talk through curriculum. I invited my lovely 2 science friends, Mr. Colgrove and Mrs. Butler, and they're here to walk through any science curriculum questions families may have. We know for those of you who have older students in our building, this is a different approach, but we're really excited about it and the opportunities it's going to give our students. Social studies, 3 full years. You can see there aren't a lot of social studies electives for students. So some of our students are kind of, they're kind of like, wah, wah, I have to take all these required these required classes. The state tells me I have to. That is true, but there are options in case a student has extra space in their day where they want to explore some new things. Okay, social psychology, honors model UN. And we'll talk more about this when we see students tomorrow. We'll walk through these. But most of our students are pursuing that civics and economics. And then some required electives, okay? We talked a little bit about the world language. These are the 4 languages that we offer at Central High. Fit for Life or Strength and Conditioning, those are the 2 PE options that are available. Students can pursue yoga, but that has to be during the 10th grade. So students who want to get that PE out of the way right when they walk in the door, this is really their best option, that Fit for Life or Strength and Conditioning. And that pairs nicely with health. So there's a year of that PE health curriculum, and you've satisfied those requirements. VPA, the Visual Performing or Applied Arts, the classes that kind of fit that criteria are your orchestra, band, choir, wood shop, marketing, and again, we will go through that once we see students tomorrow. Am I still on, or is this you? I'm going to pass the mic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Give it up for Mrs. Vantoff there, Yeah, Mrs. Our silhouettes. It's not said enough, but it's a privilege for them to work with me. So just a few last minutes here about some electives that students might have. One thing I want to say about the music department, most of our students did participate in music in middle school or before, but we do have plenty of students that start out a music instrument or a career in high school. So please don't feel like if you didn't participate in music before that this isn't an option for you. We most definitely can make that happen. Some art department, communications department offerings there. I also want to say this presentation, we will link it on our website, and we also on our website have course profile videos of many of these that students have put together so you can get a better idea of what each course entails. Continuing on here, all these courses meet that VPAA requirement. And then a few that do not, that are in the business department. We have a lot of students that tell us they want to pursue a career later on in life in the business world. And so we do have some wonderful business options that are offered. One that I do want to point out that students you won't see on your sheet tomorrow but is available for you is that sports business management course you can take. If you're interested in kind of the sports business world, it's an option for you. You'll notice that there are a lot of links that we put in this presentation. So if you do access it later on in our website, you can go there to get some more information about those individual courses and or programs or departments. There's some great links for you there. The easiest way to get to our website, if you just type into Google FHC Counseling, it usually is the very first link that shows up. So just remember FHC Counseling and it'll get you to where you need to go. Okay. We do recommend signing up for CHS News. Make sure that you're up to date on all important activities, events, and any kind of information that might be important for you. Just a quick reminder, we are going to be collecting those course request forms next week, Wednesday. Okay. All right, I'm being told what to tell you. So the course request sheets are going to be pink sheets where you'll fill them out, telling us what classes you want to take. Students, you'll begin those tomorrow when you are up here. And then we come to you on Wednesday. There are some signatures that you need to get on there, including a parent signature. So make sure you have that and that you talk about what it is you're planning on taking next year. So thank you so much. You guys are free to go.